Hello, Dream Team. Welcome back to our podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Dream Team, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another exciting podcast of Here's a Thought with the Max. My name is Lerato Macheta.
And I'm Petola Macheta.
Yeah.
Guys, please just note that Calvin will only be joining us from next week again. As you all know, Calvin's dad sadly passed away about 2 weeks ago. And Cal wrote a message to thank the Dream Team. I'm going to read it quickly for you guys.
The show.
So he says, "Dear Dream Team, we don't know where to start, but allow us to quote Helen Keller's words when she said, 'The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart.'" She added, "Walking with a friend in the dark is better than walking alone in the light. In our dark times, we had friends to walk with. We felt your love and your support. We don't know how to thank you for all the support you gave us, your encouraging messages that you poured in. They gave us the strength to go on. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. May you continue to show this kind of love to others. We will also pay it forward."
Amazing.
Tetani family.
We miss you, Cal. We miss you, homie.
We miss you,
And
Cal.
thank you so much, family. Thank you so much for the
Yeah.
outpouring of love and support and encouraging messages that you sent to the Tetani family.
Yeah.
We miss having them as part of our family
Yeah.
here. And next week he'll be back.
He'll be back with the bang. Baby, can you believe that it's been 5 weeks
Since we last shot.
Yeah. But you know what, guys? Because we're nice people, we pre-recorded everything, and it's been a sad time in our country. We have lost 3 musical giants within the past month. DJ City Lights, Ricky Rig, and now DJ Dimples. We just want to send our heartfelt condolences to the family, to their loved ones, to all that knew them. It must be such a difficult time for them.
Yeah, it just kind of feels like we're under siege, man.
Yeah.
You know, it just so happens that
Prayers up.
it just so happens that these guys were public figures.
Yeah.
You know, but a lot of people in the country are going through the same thing, you know. We're going through a lot, guys. There've been a lot of lives that have been lost. You know, you know, especially coming out of COVID, you know, and that's it. Guys, we lived through a pandemic. I don't know if you can fully appreciate like what a blessing it is to be alive.
Yeah.
Like
the
that's
gift
crazy.
of life.
Yeah,
gift
for sure.
of
For
life.
sure. Please excuse me, guys. My voice is I'm losing this battle here, so I'm drinking hot water and
he's
honey.
got man flu.
Yes. Yes.
So get better, my love.
Thank
But
you,
you
bro.
are here.
Thank you.
You're showing up.
Yes.
Today's conversation. So 2 weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, right, as you can see with the title. So what sparked this conversation? I actually called you because you were away and I sent you screenshots. So I saw a post on Instagram from this well-known music producer, and he was speaking about how broke and broken he is. This guy is well-known. He's worked with big artists in the country, but he was just talking about how he's been living from hand to mouth for the past 7 years, and he's borrowed money from people. He's just broke, and he's a broken man. And I can imagine how difficult that must have been for him to come out and to actually say, you know what? I don't care about fitting in right now. I care about my mental health. I care about coming out and telling my truth. So, today we are going to discuss the pressures of fitting in, because sometimes we die in silence because we want to fit in.
I understand why we die in silence, though.
Yeah.
Because shortly after that, we started to have a discussion. You and I had a discussion about the responses to that post.
Yeah.
People that we know personally, which we thought would have had a different take. We thought that some people would have been like, man, you know what? Thank you for saying it. Thank you that somebody said it. Somebody is actually coming out and discussing my plight, saying what I wasn't able to say. But instead, people are like, no, your finances don't define you, this, that. And, I can appreciate the sentiment. But at the same time, I think it would have gone a long way for the fact that he made himself vulnerable like that. It would have gone a long way for somebody to say, you know what, actually, you're right. And I wish more people would just tell the truth about the pressure of fitting in.
And baby, you are so right. So what happened is he actually did a follow-up post
Okay.
to talk about how people reached out to him. So it seems people were not comfortable to come onto the platform
publicly
to discuss their issues. But he says, I mean, obviously we're not privy to what people said to him afterwards,
sure.
but he says there was an outpouring of love and people came out to say, we see you, we love you, and possibly people came out and shared their personal stories as well. And I on a human level, I get it.
Oh yeah.
I get it on a human level. When we were going through the most financially, we couldn't even tell people at church.
That's true.
The depth of it. I think people at church just knew on the surface what
level.
we were going through. But guys, we had Sundays where we literally didn't have money to go to church and we would show up. We would just drive Holy Spirit.
We'd roll down the hill in neutral.
When you roll down the hill in neutral.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if we are also projecting our insecurities on people. Do we think that we were going to get judged? Or is it also not wanting to put pressure on people to now have to help you?
I think part of it, baby, is the realization, and life is going to teach you that it's not their problem. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, your issues are not other people's problem, and you kind of get into the survival mode where it's like, black man, you're on your own. And it's not you're not throwing a pity party. It's kind of like the reality of life, On the other hand, it's a beautiful thing because then you've only got God to turn to, to say, Lord, I can't rely on anybody right now. I need to rely on something. I need to rely on someone.
Yeah.
And it forced us to turn to God and say, help me.
Yeah. And the thing about belonging, guys, I mean, we were speaking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? And I love how they explain it here. They say in psychology, he's basically explaining the theory of human motivation. And we'll put the hierarchy of needs here so that you can see it. Love and belonging are right there, right at the center of this triangle.
Yeah.
So we all want to belong. We all want to feel love. We all want to be part of a church, a clique, a community, a tribe, and so forth and so on. And I can see how people can be pressured to want to fit in and not talk about their challenges, because your challenges make you stick out. Now you can't sit with us because whoa.
Right. And this is just the reality and the truth of our lived experience. It's like a child. You know how brave children are. A child will jump from the top of a jungle gym for as long as his or her dad is standing there, arms open, right? Until they fall. And then they go, I don't know if this is such a good idea, right? So in the same way, we come into life being very trusting of our friends, of our circles, of our family, expecting that we're going to receive sympathy, empathy, love, acceptance. And then you make yourself vulnerable, you put yourself out there, and then you realize, I can't rely on you the way that I thought that I'd be able to rely on you. And it leaves a scar. I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe you're not there for me in the way that I thought that you were there for me. Not necessarily an indictment on the other person, but rather just for you, it's like I had an expectation. If I'm going to call you a friend, if I'm going to call you a brother, I'm going to call you a sister, I'm going to call you a mentor, a mother, a father, this is my expectation when it comes to that title. And then when those people don't meet that expectation, we get disappointed, and then we move back into our cocoon and we're like, no, I can't, But the crazy thing about that is the pressure doesn't go away. You still long for belonging. You still long for love. You still long to fit in. And you see this in many examples. For instance, friendships. Right? Friendships. In high school, excuse me.
Sorry, babe.
In 1 second.
But she's giving you such a nice husky voice in high school.
I know, right? In high school, my experience was there were these cliques, And I'm sure so many of us went through it, right? Where it was like, okay, the 10 of you on a Friday night when you guys are going out and there's one leader and everybody's going to be doing the same thing. And this is what you guys are going to be wearing. This is how you guys speak. This is the swag. You need to make sure that you get those sneakers because everybody has those sneakers. You know what I'm saying? And there's a thing because you just have this longing to fit in.
Yeah.
And that doesn't leave you in high school. You realize as an adult, it's exactly the same thing.
And I feel like as parents, you know, and I say it with a lot of apprehension because already as parents there's so much pressure to want to do right by our kids. But I feel like as parents we also fail our kids because that need to belong starts from a very young age.
Yeah.
Already from creche, from primary school, right? And I think we spoke about this in another installment where we generally wouldn't buy lehakwe things because her friends have it.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel like when you start doing that, then you are setting a precedent for your child to want to fit in against all odds. What we're trying to teach our kids is that it's okay to be your authentic self.
An individual.
It's okay to be an individual. And
To
sometimes
stand out.
it's not easy.
No, it's
right?
not
It's
easy.
not easy that you might not have the phone that everyone has. You might not have this and this and that. But it's such a teachable moment to say that ha re le batho, ha re tshwane, and I never re tshwane. And your tribe will accept you for the person that you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the difficulty with that lesson is that being your own person has consequences. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because on social media you'll see people saying, "Hey, kwaze kwanzima ku love lives here. Kwaze kwanzima ku know your worth." You know what I'm saying? Because it's lonely.
Yes.
Because it's lonely. But the reality is, and it's just an example of there being consequences to being your own person.
Yeah.
There's a consequence to the fact that you aren't financially where your friends are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because they meet every second week, fortnightly, they go out and they split the bill.
Yeah.
You're negotiating having enough money for lunch boxes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Now you're sitting there kind of saying, "Oh no, I can't make it because my husband is away and I can't, or because my wife, now you find yourself making excuses because you still have this need. There's this thing where you're like, I want to belong.
Yeah. But I find that, my love, when you are not honest with your tribe, with the people, those that are close to you, especially when it comes to friendships, right? And you are trying to, live up to, what is the Joneses?
Keep up with the Joneses.
To keep up with the Joneses,
Yeah.
it's exhausting and it's not sustainable. And I'm not sure if you will stick around for a very long time. But I think that we've been blessed. I've been blessed, through every season of my life where I've had people that really love me, people that I can tell exactly what I'm going through and not be ashamed of what I'm going through and find acceptance in that.
Yeah.
Where you can just be yourself and know that you're enough for those people.
Yeah.
If I can't make it for the season, it doesn't mean that they're going to write me off.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think just trying to keep up with the Joneses is so exhausting.
I haven't been so lucky in my relationships. I'm lucky now. But throughout most of my adult life, I haven't been so lucky to have those. And maybe I'm judging people unfairly. Maybe, it was just a conversation that we never had. But let me say, until now, I never really felt like I had those guys that got it. They were just but to be fair, on a human level as well, it can be exhausting. To be on the other side. It can be exhausting to be there for the person who is just things aren't coming together.
Like,
Do you know what I mean? Like you're barely above water, and I can appreciate how you as the burdened person, as the broke person, as the person that's in need, can be a weight, can be heavy on other people. I can appreciate that,
Yeah.
and I'm not coming with a solution, but I think I'm just saying, I think we're having this conversation to say you are not alone. This is not something that just you are going through. Like, we've been through it. In certain pockets, we still are going through it, not because of finances, but it could just be because of taste. What the new thing is now, and this is what we're doing. What nappies are moms buying now? What places do we hang out at? And we're just like,
oh, baby, even finances, because remember there are levels to finances.
Oh, yeah, because there are levels to finances.
Guys, where people are taking international trips like 4 times a year, where people are buying designer, this and this and this and that, where you could easily feel the pressure.
Yeah.
In our line of work, right, where we create content, there could be the pressure to fit in, to maybe try to create a certain type of content because that's what everyone...
That's what's trending.
That's what's trending. And it's easy to fall into that trap, especially when you start looking at numbers, when you start looking at likes, what people are liking from other creators, right? To forget. I think the most important thing, baby, you love saying this. You love to say that understand what season you are in.
Yeah.
What season of your life you're in, and understand your goal and your vision, guys. If your vision is clear, yes, the pressures will still be there.
Yeah.
But I think you'll always pull yourself towards yourself.
Yeah.
When you feel yourself sort of
drifting.
Drifting.
So what I like to say to my wife is it's very important to understand who you are and to understand where you are.
Yes.
And those two things are very different. It's important to know that you are a Grammy Award winning star, but where you are, nobody knows about you.
Nobody cares.
So you can't like go out there being like, yeah, I'm a Grammy. Well, no, you're not. So it's important to know who you are, and that is for self-worth. But to understand where you are and understand how the world sees you. You know what I'm saying? And understand that, look, I'm just going to have to push this much harder. I'm just going to have to work that much more there. I'm just going to have to. And so one of the things that I've written on a post, like I wrote like many years ago, but it always stuck with me, is find your tribe and love them hard. Because when it comes to fitting in, when it comes to love and acceptance, one of the quotes that I really love is those that matter, those that care don't matter, and those that matter don't care. Those that care about who you are in society and where you are and what, they don't matter. Those that matter in your life, they don't care. They love you for who you are. Now, I've just shared my experience. It hasn't been easy for me to find those people, but eventually I found them. And by the way, me not finding those people is not because that those people weren't out there. It was because I had a low self-esteem. Right? So I was chasing the wrong people. Because of my low self-esteem, because I so badly wanted to fit in with the crowd that was trying so hard to keep me out, because that crowd looked like making it. And yet this crowd was here looking at me and waiting, being like, dude, well, I mean, we're here, come through, and here, this is where I found everything that I was looking for, the love, the acceptance, where we can genuinely support each other, no matter where we find each other in life, we can genuinely support each other.
And I mean, a tribe can be one person, guys.
That's true.
You are literally possibly also talking about one.
I'm talking about
people.
one person. I'm not. Right? No, I'm talking about you as well. So I'm talking about my best friend. I'm talking about you. And I'm talking about my family.
Right? Even with me, I've got like two very close friends. And I've got my sister, I've got you. So I don't have a big clique of friends. I used to, and it didn't work out. It works out for other people. But for me, I just found that this formula works for me.
For sure.
And I think, baby, if we can link it to career, and I want you to jump in here. So I haven't really had a lot of instances where I felt the pressure to fit into corporate, because I think I was a bit more self-aware when I started working. I was coming into my own, so I didn't really feel too much pressure to fit in. But I remember when you started making music, when I met you, you were actually making house music.
Yeah.
And I think at the time...
No, when you met me, I wasn't making house music.
When
I was a session musician.
But I remember the first year. I remember you made your first track, and I've got a
yeah.
Creek.
Yeah.
And it was a house. Because that's what was trending at the time?
Yeah.
Guys, he was making house, Mr. Max.
Look. Musically, I was in a very big place of exploration, so I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Okay.
I hadn't found my voice.
As a solo artist, not a session.
Yeah, so my history is that I played for and produced artists, so I was a studio musician, I was a stage musician, so I was a musical director. I used to tour with bands, with artists and whatever. So when I came to the point where I wanted to create my own music, the landscape, it was endless because I studied classical music, I studied contemporary music, I studied jazz music, I played hip hop music, I produced house music. It was just, you know what I mean? So I could have gone anywhere with it.
Yeah.
But to your point, yes, a part of it was looking at the industry and saying, okay, what's going on in the industry right now, and how can I make myself relevant?
Yeah.
At the time, it was Liquid Deep, it was Mikasa. They were the ones like coming into the game, and I was like, whoa, this is definitely a road that I can go down.
Yeah.
I quickly realized that no, this is not who I am.
Sure.
This is not going to work, and subsequently over the years, I've tried many things. And yes, a lot of it was driven by the pressure to fit in, to be relevant in the industry. I didn't want to make music for those 50 people. Have my crowd of loyal 50 fans, for 10 years, playing at the same club for 10 years. No, of course, I didn't want that. I wanted to feed my family, but I've grown to the place right now.
Yeah.
Thank God, where I'm just like, because I'm working on an album now, but I've grown to the place right now where I'm like, okay, you know what God has given me is enough. It's just gonna have to be enough. I am complete. I am more than enough. And the talent and the ideas and the inspiration that God has given me, He knows where He's gonna take it. He knows where He's gonna put it. And I have to be okay with that.
Baby, I love what you're saying. So from what you were saying now, what I'm picking up, and these are some of the conversations that you and I have quite often. So you touched on when you started in the industry, there was Bomikasa, BBM. Guys, we are from that era.
Liquid Deep,
era
man.
Of Liquid Deep. If you don't know Liquid Deep, only 2000.
Like,
we still love you, but 2000.
Yeah.
Shout out to my
If
2000.
you do know Liquid Deep and you're not married with kids. No, I'm joking. That's a joke. That's a joke. That's a joke.
That wasn't really funny though.
That was hilarious.
Wow, guys. Guys, more forgiving.
No, just make your point. Make your point.
So,
guys, it's hot.
It is hot, ne?
Yeah.
Shame,
Go ahead.
You're sweating, Baba. So I was saying that when you were speaking about Liquid Deep and them, and you were looking at them, and there's nothing wrong with looking at people for inspiration. Right? But when you start sort of veering off?
When you start looking to them for definition.
For definition, it breeds competition.
Yeah.
It breeds envy. It breeds jealousy. Because now, I love what you said about you being enough. When you're enough, you draw inspiration.
Yeah.
You aren't doing what the Joneses are doing.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's the next best thing. Or because you think... Sorry, I've got something here in my mouth.
Sorry, boo. Or
you think because they are popping, it means that you are going to pop. Yeah. Because God deposits different gifts and talents in us, and God knows what your ministry is and how you are going to touch people with your gifts and talents. Yes, you're all musicians, but you still have different strengths and weaknesses in the industry. Yeah. Right? Maybe your thing is not to go into that genre of music, but to go into gospel, another one.
Yeah. Because I'm going into gospel, guys.
And when I met my husband, I said
to him, that's funny.
When I met Lerato in 2008, I was like, babe, You're this guy. What's a Nuira gospel? Man?
But your motivation was very different, babe.
Because you've always been so full of like the word, full of the Holy Spirit. For me, it just made sense. And guys, when God brings you a helper, because I'm the helper. I saw it in you before you saw it in yourself. Right? But you had to go through all these years of toiling.
But I had to be ready.
And I guess God had to work on you.
And I had to go through that valley. I had to test it.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't test it, I was always going to be looking over my shoulder and going, but what if I tried that? And what if I tried that? You know what I'm saying? So the fact that I've been through it, I'm ready to be exactly where I am right now.
Yeah. But I also feel like, babe, and I think it's funny that you struggled with fitting in because your childhood was so unconventional.
That's why I struggled.
But I feel like you would have gained the tools to be like a vagabond, to be like, no, man, I don't need to fit in. I don't have to be this person. Because I grew up in an environment where it was a normal environment, right? Both my parents were teachers. They would go to school, come back. I lived in one house for 7 years. And then we moved to another house. No, for like 10 years, actually. We moved to another house where I lived for another 15 years.
Yeah.
Right? And then I moved out. I lived in one city for 20 plus years. Right? And I would have thought that because you traveled, you met people, you struggled young with, leaving safe havens and making new friends, that as an adult, you wouldn't struggle with those things. It's such an interesting phenomenon.
Okay. So the interesting thing is, and this came to my attention not recently, but I've thought about over the past couple of years, that the problem is that I have faced rejection all of my life. I've faced not fitting in. So I couldn't identify with the feeling of fitting in.
Yeah.
Because I was always the alien. I was always the guy. So when we were in America, I was the South African dude. When we came back to South Africa, I was
the guy with the accent.
The guy with the accent. Like, I was the American dude. Yeah. Do you understand what I'm saying? When I went to a private school, we weren't that rich, so I was the guy that didn't quite measure up.
Yeah.
When I went to a public school, I was better off than the others, so I was the cheese boy.
You had nice life problems.
But do you understand what I'm saying?
But there's still problems nonetheless.
When I moved to the hood, I was the guy from the suburbs.
Sure.
Playing as a musician, we would, So I remember there would be jokes made about me because it was like, it's like, Lerato, where are we dropping you off? I'd be like, at Bree. And they're like, oh, at Bree. Bree.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's been that constant thing. So somewhere on the inside of me, I'm constantly just looking for a safe haven to be like, oh, I get to be myself. What I didn't realize was it is the unique nature of my upbringing that the magic and the beauty of me lies in.
Sure.
And I didn't realize that all these years, to be like, oh, snap, you're different.
Sure.
You don't get to, but the weird thing about music is you're constantly trying to connect with people.
Sure. And babe, you know what you're saying, and I apologize. I didn't mean to trivialize your lived experience. But the reason I'm apologizing is because I actually caught myself, and I was like, this is also what happens when people have issues. And that's why I think sometimes people fall into depression and people have anxiety, because sometimes people are like, but your problems aren't big enough.
Yeah.
Right? Why
to be an issue?
To be an issue.
Yeah, that's not an issue.
That's not an issue. There are people that are far worse. There are people that are homeless and this and this and this. And you realize that if we can just create a safe space for people to belong and not create this hostile environment where people are trying to kick down doors to fit in, right? Because even in that, in you went through situations where you were trying to fit in to be this person and this person and this person and this person, because people are just like, no, what's your problem? You don't have problems, just snap out of it, right? And I'm finding that as a community, as a people, we make it very difficult. And there's this, be kind movement that happens when something happens to someone, when, someone, takes their own life, or people go through a traumatic experience, and there's a short-lived be kind.
Yeah.
But people don't exercise kindness every day. And I feel like if we were kind every day, there would be less pressure for people to want to fit in, for people to want to be their authentic selves, knowing that they will be accepted regardless.
As a parting shot for me, I read, something just came to mind. It hear me out.
Yeah.
Right?
Are you going to be controversial?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
But I'm gonna use. So I read something where it was one of these guys' posts, and he said, "Quit chasing after women.
I saw that.
Chase the money.
I saw that.
And then the women will come to you." Right?
I saw that
and
post.
I sat back and I was like, but that's so true. I was like, that's true. Like, quit chasing the women, chase money, and then your woman will find you, like, on the road, right? In the same breath, I think chase self-actualization.
Love it.
Like, chase building who you were created to be.
Yeah.
And then fitting in is going to be so easy.
Yeah.
Because everybody is going to want you in their clique.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be like, oh, no, that's my homie. Yeah, no, I know him from way back. Y'all met last year. No, I know him from way back. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think just for my parting shot is just really be jealous about building your life.
Yeah.
Really like protect your peace, your life, your tswelo pele keng?
Success.
Advancement. Yeah. Chase advancement in life, and and then it's not an attraction thing, but you'll then attract the right things in your life, the people that you need in your life, and the people that do, because when you are a light that is shining so bright, man, anything that is blinded by it's just going to reject it. It's going to be like, no, I actually don't need this in my life. I need people that are going to make me shine brighter. So you're going to attract brighter lights around you.
Yeah. Or what you also do is you will also ignite other people's lights that are in the dark.
That's
right?
true.
Because when you're a city on a hill, right, you illuminate the entire
the darker areas.
Yes. So, as my parting shot, I think what I want to say is that so I love, my husband is so smart, so I always get when he speaks, I get the Holy Spirit just also deposits things into my spirit. So when you're speaking about chasing self-actualization, I want to also say, this topic is so vast. There's so much that I wanted to touch on in terms of parenthood, pressures to fit in as a parent, as a mom. But I think maybe that's another conversation to have for another day, because we have been talking for a very long time. The road to self-actualization. And self-actualization, guys, go back to our first Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's at the top of the needs list, right? The road to self-actualization, guys, can get very lonely. You need to stay the course. Because remember, when you're different, you're not going to just come on the scene, be different, and be accepted tomorrow. Like you were saying, babe, you faced a lot of rejection. You're going to face rejection. There are going to be naysayers. There are going to be haters. I don't like using the word haters, but the reality is the Bible does speak about your
Haters.
enemies. Right? And the enemy, the Bible does speak about the enemy, your enemies, right? But God will prepare a table for you in front of your enemies. Listen. So the road to self-actualization, guys, is not easy. It's going to be lonely. It's going to be faced with opposition. But stay the course, because when you get there, then they're going to say, that's my man. That's my girl.
No doubt.
Right? Because you are a pioneer. People want to be associated with pioneers, but it's not everyone that is going to be a pioneer.
Yeah.
And that's why pioneers are so attractive to a lot of people, because a lot of people know what it took to get there. Not a lot of people have the guts to do what you have done.
So stop trying to fit in.
Yeah.
Because you were born to stand out.
Yeah, and pressure will be there, but stay the course, stay in prayer, be with the right people, and just be grounded, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much for a great conversation.
It was
You're amazing. I love your
I love-
mind. It is
I
so
love
great.
your mind.
Guys,
So
please
smart.
remember to like, subscribe. We haven't actually said this today. Guys, please remember to like, subscribe, comment, share, turn on that notification bell to know every single time we upload a new installment. We love you. We adore you. You guys are amazing. It is so good to be back.
Guys, we love you. We adore you. Peace, love, and blessings. One time. Too real. Oh, yeah.
You know what it is. Peace and blessings, people.
I love
We
you.
out.
Bye.